and welcome to the Bruce Channel. I'm Bruce. Come on right in. We've got a very diverse show today, one I hope you'll enjoy. First, of course, top of the list, Happy Mother's Day. If you're a mom, I hope that your family treats you to breakfast in bed, followed later by whatever your favorite dinner is, and that's whether they prepare it or take you out to your favorite restaurant. Then the big fun, when they bring you their wonderful gifts. I do, however, suspect that most of the moms would say the best gift is just being together with their families. So to my own mother, I miss you, Mom. Sorry I caused so much trouble over the years, and I certainly did. And to all the dads and kids, you've got your marching orders now, right? So make it special. Okay, now back to the moms. Sincerely, my wishes are for all of you to fully enjoy today as they lavish you with love, because tomorrow, it all goes back to normal. They'll take you for granted again. Even though its impact isn't huge, it's a big troubling that tropical storm Ana developed off the Florida coast this week, and it's way too early for my liking. I have never been absolutely pummeled by a hurricane, but Hugo in '89, after destroying much of Charleston, South Carolina, really hit Charlotte and Winston-Salem hard, actually catastrophically, and I'm just 30 minutes away from where Winston is. I put a dot there. So that was close. I was here then and certainly felt it. Greensboro wasn't devastated. We had plenty of downed trees. Now in '96, Hurricane Fran completely raped Raleigh. You can see Fran's track drew a perfect bullseye, if you consider especially that what they tell us, the worst of the storm is in the northeast quadrant. So months later, I was in Raleigh for a week, and every morning at the motel, 6 a.m., almost like clockwork, we would hear the diesel engines being fired up as dump trucks from all over, hundreds of them, maybe thousands of them from many states had come in to help clean up. So they began their daily task early, hauling away debris. And the debris, even months later, was still clearly everywhere to be seen. So those were close enough to me. I've gained respect. And I hope that Tropical Storm Ana is just an aberration. I missed some important dates this past week. That is, I didn't learn of their significance until they'd either arrived or, in one case, had passed. Now on May 4th, Monday, I learned that it was the 360th birth anniversary of Bartolomeo Cristofori. And we all owe him a lot. Perhaps I owe him more than most folks. Now, I don't know anyone who doesn't like piano. He invented the piano. He had been a harpsichord maker, but his breakthrough is what changed things forever, and it made the piano king of the instruments. Now, Google thought it was a big enough deal. They made a Google Doodle to celebrate. See, there had been keyboards, but what all previous keyboard instruments shared was the inability to play with dynamic range, that is, from soft to loud and back to soft again. Now, the language of music, at least Western music, is Italian. That's where it originated. Forte means loud. Piano means soft. And he named his creation the grave cymbalo col piano e forte, or, cleverly, harpsichord with soft and loud. It was a breakthrough. And even today, even though we just call it a piano, in serious settings, its proper name is pianoforte. And now, when Alex Trebek asks you, you'll know. All right, so that was Monday the 4th. The next day, Cinco de Mayo, of course, didn't take me by surprise. I knew that was coming, and I don't need an excuse or much convincing to crack open a Corona or a Dos Equis. I love fajitas, so I was ready for the Cinco thing. But the day after that, May 6th, brought another surprise, the 151st anniversary of Nellie Bly's birth. She was a groundbreaking woman journalist, and she didn't want to just write about knitting and sewing and womanly things. She wanted to cover things that mattered. In 1887, she practiced being crazy, literally practiced expressions and phrases that someone demented might say. And so faking it, she was then committed to Bellevue Hospital. She was there for 10 days, and it was a horrible time, horrible conditions, and she reported them. The bath water was cold, rats were all over the place, the food was spoiled, This was all reported in Joseph Pulitzer's newspaper, the New York World, yes, of the prize fame. Later it was put in a book if you wanted to pick up a copy. It was called 10 Days in a Madhouse. Another notable adventure of hers. Now, Jules Verne's fictional story Around the World in 80 Days had never actually been done. But she did it, and she did it in 72. So, May 4th and May 6th and May 5th. Days of historical significance, but I most regret having missed the May 2nd specialness. No, not the Kentucky Derby, which I knew of. I watched it. Nope. I learned after the fact that in addition to being Derby Day, May 2nd was also Nude Gardening Day. And the weather was so cooperative, at least it was here, so I'm sorry I missed it. Okay, boys and girls, can you spell sunscreen? I once again want to encourage you to go to justlabelit.org and find out about GMO food. I have, on more than a few occasions, been incensed and shown it here by some of what the giant corporations are doing just to try and take away your ability to determine what you're putting in your body. If you haven't seen some of those rants, they're on some earlier episodes. You can see them at tinyurl.com/BruceChannel. In fact, you can see all of our previous shows there. But I began talking about GMOs at the end of March, and on the show entitled Got Kids? That's where I began. It is maddening, it is frightening, it is disgusting. Now the battle is not lost, but it most certainly is joined. Remember, the battle isn't to ban GMOs. It's the big corporations spending billions of dollars in an effort to make it illegal to merely require the labeling. I spoke of how they attacked Dr. Oz. He's not against GMOs, but he advocates labeling. Well, after the attack, he outed them on a show. I think it's telling that one of the signatories to the letter is now perhaps thinking he shouldn't have. But this, I absolutely love. I think this tells it all. So go to justlabelit.org. Hey, it's your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. Or wait, I can let others do it. Okay, I spoke last time about what I consider to be Mike Larson's baiting of investors by selling doom and gloom. I certainly didn't expect to go anywhere near there again so soon, but I have to, and not in detail. But this is, I think, really funny. Now, this isn't about Mike Larson, but he's with the Weiss Group, and I began getting letters about a week ago from Martin Weiss himself, telling me of a wonderful online event. It was to be held on Wednesday, Nellie Bly's birthday. I'm pretty sure that's not why. Anyway, he promoted it as he has several other similar seminars. Big news, wonderful insight. This one was also different. He was going to give me free money, maybe $100,000, and I didn't have to buy anything. I didn't have to subscribe to anything or take risks by investing in anything. Now, usually, when he gives me a gift like this, it turns out to be a discount. You're missing out on your $2,000 gift. Meaning, this usually costs $5,000, but until this window closes, it's yours for $3,000. Another important thing, this $100,000 was going to be tax-free. Really? Okay. I wasn't excited. I am skeptical, but I was curious. It's interesting, too, that when the seminar went live, he introduced the program by saying many of the same things, no limits to how many can watch, nothing to purchase, and then he said, Not a discount, no gimmicks like that. Which sort of makes it obvious that he knows those other times of discounted gifts were gimmicks. Anyway, he introduced his guests, the Dolans, financial experts, whom I've known of. And they started talking of how to get free money, lots of money, tax-free money rather. Well, for example, if you just saved an extra $500 a month, you'd have $6,000 at the end of the year, every year, for the rest of your life. And you don't have to pay tax on it. That's when I clicked the window closed. I mean, I don't know how much longer it went on, really. I knew that. Who knew I could be a financial advisor like the Dolans? You know, if you have any useful financial advice to offer, you can write me at the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com. All right, so I'd mentioned that Nude Gardening Day, May 2nd, was also Derby Day. I don't know if they coincide each year, but I wonder, would the rules of nude gardening mean that ladies can't wear their beautiful derby hats and still be considered nude? Got to find the rules. Anyway, American Pharoah won the 141st Kentucky Derby. Next Saturday, they'll run the Preakness. We'll find out if there's a chance for a Triple Crown winner this year. If Pharoah does win, then the attention will certainly grow. If he doesn't, millions of people will still watch the Belmont, but far fewer than if he wins and has a chance for the Triple Crown. Okay, we go now from the sport of kings to the, I don't even know anymore. You'll recall back in January, the New England Patriots beat the Indianapolis Colts to advance to the Super Bowl, which they won. After the game against the Colts, we learned that the first half of the game, the Patriots footballs were underinflated, and we talked about it. It was called Deflategate. The NFL has been investigating it for all these many months, and this week they issued their voluminous report. In it, they did not use case closed type of language, but instead used words like very probable and very likely that two rather low-level employees did the deflating, and that quarterback Tom Brady, who had vociferously denied knowing anything, was probably aware. Well, that's true. Low-level guys aren't going to... No way they're going to do that without some sort of approval, right? Even if it's just tacit. Anyway, it is true, a slightly softer football can be easier to grip for the thrower, especially if it's cold and wet. Not unlikely conditions for January in Foxborough, Mass. And a softer ball is certainly easier to catch. It's less likely to bounce off one's hands. Now, a softer ball isn't why they beat the Colts. It was a blowout, and the balls were put back to the proper inflation in the second half, and Brady had a better second half than first. No, that's not what's troubling. What's troubling is that he denied it, which, if he had no knowledge, was the right thing to do. That's telling the truth. But if he denied it and didn't allow the NFL to access his phone's text messages, which he did not, that's what you would do if you did have knowledge, if there was a scheme that you were in on. Now, he is a tremendous quarterback, one of the very best ever. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. But maybe they should put an asterisk, easy for me to say, next to his name. The other thing that's troubling, though, I picked them to win the Super Bowl, and I based that on a lot of things, including how they performed in some big games during the season. But now you have to wonder, was the Colts game the first time they were uninflated? What about the week before against Baltimore? That was a close game. Or games in December. You know, in the past I have said I love the NFL. Deflategate is just one more reason I am finding the NFL to be more and more like nicotine. Shouldn't love it. Hard to stop. I have a friend with a beautiful home. It's a log home. It's gorgeous. It's on beautiful property, acres, largely wooded, although there is lots of grass to mow. It is tastefully landscaped. It's beautiful. It's got rocks. It even has a creek running through it. And every year, she and her husband work very, very hard to keep it looking beautiful. And every year, she's saddened when deer eat the flowers. She doesn't hate the deer. She thinks they're beautiful. she does wish they'd leave her flowers alone. And when she posted pictures this week of their yard and the work they're doing, I was reminded of all of this. So why do I bring it up? Well, as one who formerly basically just mowed, I'd commiserate with her, but not really get it. But then a few years ago, when I became more ambitious, I found empathy. I'm next to woods, and the deer would come eat my vegetables from the garden. They'd eat ornamental flowers. They'd even eat young bushes and trees. I mean, eat right down to the ground. So much for the privacy hedge, you know? So I did what you do. I went to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's, I went to a nursery, any number of places, and bought any number of animal repellents. They weren't cheap, but worse, they were ineffective. And I tried virtually all of them. So then I asked the landscaper I know for suggestions if he knew of anything other than the common repellents. He answered, "See if you can get some coyote urine. Golf courses sometimes use coyote urine." Well, I wasn't able to find any coyote urine for sale, not even online, not even Amazon, which has everything, right? And just for the record, the idea of finding a coyote and getting him to pee in a jar wasn't going to be an idea I'd embrace. And having worked at racetracks, I know how that works. Every winning horse, American Pharoah included, has his or her urine collected for drug testing immediately after the race. And yes, somebody has to collect it. There's a job for you. Pay attention, kids. Stay in school. Well, then I thought, I make urine. Maybe they won't like human urine either. I gotta tell you, it's not practical. One, I can't imagine drinking enough beer or coffee to cover all the affected areas. And two, while it may be okay in the backyard, in the front yard, even when I was carrying big cardboard with me, let me just put it this way. Folks driving by have convinced me that the human face is capable of a nearly infinite number of strange expressions. Anyway, 2 years ago, I solved the problem of deer eating valuable flora. I found this stuff on Amazon, and the ratings were nearly universally perfect. I tried it, and it works. It's called Deer Stop. My, how clever is that, huh? Now, it's not a big bottle, so it seems pretty expensive at around $30, but it's a concentrate. 2, maybe 3 years later, I still have over half the bottle. And another thing about it that's wonderful, they say it can last up to 4 weeks. Rain doesn't damage its effectiveness. Wanting to be safe, I usually go 3, but I do know it remains effective for 3 weeks, even if it rains. And it is non-toxic. The ingredient that makes it effective is putrefied eggs, which probably smell bad, and you wouldn't want to use them. However, there's no bad smell. The manufacturer is clever. That presumed bad smell is disguised, at least for humans, by a very faint aroma of mint. I mean, it's faint, but that's all you smell. This is not a commercial message, but, from time to time I may lambaste this or that when I think it's warranted. I'm really happy to be able to offer good words when they are earned. Okay, I'm going to show you this last one. If you haven't before seen it, you can at least head out of our door with a smile on your face. Okay? This doggie was apparently at a pet daycare. And when Mom came to pick him or her up, well, you can see what happens. And you know what? It may not be on the periodic table, but sheer and utter joy is a real element. That's it for this week, but I hope your upcoming week is the best one you've ever had.